Hi, I'm Denise. Thank you for watching my video. Today I'm going to talk about the sound R. This is the sound made by the letter R in English. In the US, most Americans do pronounce this sound all of the time wherever it occurs, with a few exceptions. But there are some people in mostly the eastern and parts of the southern United States where the sound R, or the letter R, is not pronounced. For example, in New York City, many people do not pronounce the letter R when it occurs in words. However, most Americans do pronounce it, and this is the sound I'll be talking about today, okay? I will be talking about these topics: R confusion. These are some ideas that confuse people about the letter R or the sound R. I will talk about how to make this sound. I will give you some words to practice with me where the letter R occurs in the beginning, middle, and end of the word. I will give you some minimal pairs, words, contrasting words with the R sound and the O sound. I will also give you some words where the two sounds occur in the same word. And I will give you some minimal pairs with R and W, the W sound. I will give you a short quiz, and I will give you some sentences, okay? And if you want to skip any sections and jump directly to a section, you can do that by clicking on any one of the time marks that are in the description area below this video, okay? I have put the times where each of these sections starts in the video, so you can go directly there and you can skip some of the other sections if you're not as interested in them, okay? All right, let's begin with R confusion. In this R confusion section of my video, I'm going to talk about some things, some ideas that I have found confuse many people, okay? I have four main topics here that I will be talking about. The first one is the question, is R a vowel or a consonant? You may have found in your studies that it is presented both ways, okay? So first of all, the letter R is a consonant, okay? The sound R by itself is a consonant. However, very often we have this sound, this letter, together in a word with the sound with the vowel sound When these two sounds occur together, they normally make a new sound. The sound changes, okay? They make a new sound, This sound, many linguists classify as a vowel sound, I did not include it as a vowel in my vowel overview video for a few different reasons, one of which I wasn't taught that way from the beginning when I started studying, but also because often this sound is a little bit stretched out, and it does sound to me, as it does to many other people, as two separate sounds. At other times it may be short and sound like one sound, but I just prefer to keep it as two separate sounds. But many linguists do believe that this is a vowel sound. And by the way, don't be too concerned about this notation here. There are many ways to represent this sound, okay? I just chose for this video today to use this way. But this would be the sound which by many is classified as a vowel. Again, the sound R by itself is a consonant. The second thing that I find many people are confused about is how to make R. Most textbooks and most teachers teach that there's only one way to make this sound. When I was at the university, all of my textbooks and all of my university professors told me there was only one way to make an R, that I had to curl my tongue back to make that R. When I told one of my professors that I did not curl my tongue back to make the R, she said I had to do that and that there was no other way. So I spent a lot of time with my finger in my mouth trying to figure out how I made an R or a R sound. But since then, I have found many resources that support the second way of making the R sound. So I just want to say that there are two ways of making this. Even though your textbook may only give you one way, or your teacher may only tell you one way, there are two basic ways to make the sound. And I will talk about that in the next section of this video. Number 3 in my list of confusing things is the term R-colored vowels. Many people are confused by this term. Basically what this term means is that a vowel sound often changes when it is followed by R in the same syllable. When this happens, it's often not clear exactly what vowel sound is being made. I gave an example of this earlier in number 1 when I said that the vowel sound when followed by R becomes Okay, so this vowel sound changed because it was followed by R, or the letter R. The letter R, okay? And again, don't worry about this notation. There are many ways to write the symbol for the sound okay? But R-colored vowels just means that the vowel sound changes when it's followed by R. Another thing that adds to the confusion is that people in different parts of the country often make different vowel sounds for the same letter combinations. And then when you look up a transcription, a typical transcription in a dictionary or a textbook, it often doesn't match what you may hear the people saying. So, yes, there's confusion around this. I am not going to discuss this anymore in this video, but I hope to discuss it a little bit more in another video, okay? So keep your eyes peeled for that. Another thing that is often very confusing for people is the type of symbols that are used to represent this sound. As a matter of fact, other sounds too. But, for example, the IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet, uses this symbol to represent R, the American R sound. However, everyone else, I'm actually exaggerating when I say everyone, but every textbook I have ever looked at, almost every dictionary I've ever looked at, and most YouTube videos, including my own, use this symbol for the American R. However, for somebody who is familiar with the IPA, when they see this symbol, they may think of the trill. This is a symbol that the IPA uses for the trill sound. I don't want to make a trill because I'm not an expert at it, but that's the sound where the tongue taps rapidly, very quickly, on the roof of the mouth. A very similar symbol is this one. It does not have the stem on the left-hand side, but this represents the tap sound in IPA. And a tap is just one quick touch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So if somebody who is very familiar with IPA sees this sound, when they're just learning this American R, they may think it's a trill. It's not, okay? But as I said, I am exaggerating a bit here when I say everyone uses this, but many other resources use this symbol for the R sound as used in American English, but the IPA uses this symbol, so that can be confusing to some people. And I did say, even in my own videos, I use this. That's what I was taught, that's what I see everywhere, that's what I'm used to, and I find people do get used to it, I guess students get used to it as well, but there is some confusion here for many people. Also, I have too many symbols. I just want to give some examples of the sound that I talked about earlier. These are all examples of ways you can represent the sound. Now there are some differences. These, for example, represent a stressed sound. These would represent an unstressed sound. We have, somebody could write the transcription this way to represent two separate sounds. Somebody could use this representation if they believe it's one single sound, or this representation would be one single sound. So my point is that there are many ways to transcribe these sounds. These are these are both R, and this can be confusing to people. The transcription that is used depends a lot on who's doing the transcribing, whether they think that the sound is one sound or two sounds, whether the sound is stressed or unstressed, and there may be several other factors involved as well. I'm not a linguist, so I don't want to say which one is the best to use in any particular situation, but I just want to point out the fact that there are many different symbols that you may come across. So pay attention to whatever textbook or dictionary or whatever resource you're using, and just become familiar with their method of transcribing, okay? Okay, let's go on to the next section, which is how to make this sound. I hope my discussion of our confusion wasn't too confusing for you, okay? Let me now go on to how to make R, okay? How to make this sound. There are two main ways to make the R sound, or to pronounce the letter R in English. There are some variations, even within these ways. For instance, in the amount of lip rounding, there's some variation, and other things as well. But one very important thing to remember, regardless of which method you use, is that the tip of the tongue never touches the roof of the mouth, okay? So if this is my tongue, and this is the roof of my mouth, we never touch, okay? And that is something that some learners sometimes forget, because in many languages, the tongue does touch the top of the mouth, but not in English. Okay, I mentioned the tap and the trill earlier. Well, the tap is one quick touch of the roof of the mouth, and the trill is several quick touches of the roof of the mouth. And that is how some speakers of other languages pronounce the letter R. But in English, we don't. We do not touch the top of the mouth, okay? Also, in some languages, the R is made from very deep in the throat, but not in English. It is a voiced sound, so we do use our vocal cords, but it's not coming from really deep down in the throat. The first way to make the R sound is by curling, remember this is my tongue, curling the tip of the tongue towards the roof of the mouth, but don't touch it. Don't curl too far back. We're just going to curl a little bit towards the ridge that's just behind our teeth, okay? But don't touch it. So we curl the tongue. The sides of the tongue can press against the upper back teeth. We curl, and it's tense. The tongue is tense when we do this. And then as we make the sound, we uncurl the tongue. The lips are slightly rounded most of the time, but again, that varies somewhat among speakers and among words also. And position of the letter R in the word, that sometimes changes the rounding as well. To practice this sound, what I would like to do is to make the sound but I'm going to hold it out, draw it out, and as I'm making that sound, I hope that you can do this with me, I will curl up my tongue, and that will get me into the right position to make the R sound, okay? Can you try this with me? All right, so say, but as we're doing it, we're going to curl the tongue. I hope I can do it without laughing. R, R, R. As you're curling the tongue, can you hear the sound change? R, R, R. I have to see if my tongue is curled. Okay. So that is the first method. And that method is taught the most. That's the method that appears in most textbooks that I've seen, well, actually in every textbook that I've seen. That's a method that most teachers teach because it's the most common way to make that sound. But it's not the only way. I said there are two ways, and I actually make the second way. The second way is to bunch up our tongue. That means to pull back the tongue in the mouth. To pull it back tightly, bunch it up, and make the R that way with the tongue in that position. The tip of the tongue does not turn up. It can go turn down a little bit, or it can just remain kind of in the middle of the mouth, but it pulls back with the rest of the tongue, and the tongue is tense. R, R, R. So if I try to make this R, 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 R. It's hard to do in isolation like that. What I want to do is to practice saying a couple of words, okay? So let's try to say the word red and the word run. And you can use whichever method you want. I will be using the second method. So when I do it, my lips will be rounded, and they will also push out a bit. Now, we normally do make the R in this way. Some speakers may not push their lips out as much, or in fast speech we may not do it as much. But when I say these sounds, these words, watch my lips too, okay? And I will be using the second method. I will be pulling my tongue back. So, red, red. This is red, R-E-D, okay? Run. Maybe I should write it down. Run. Okay, I will be saying these two words. Red and run. Okay? Okay. Red, 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 run, run, r, 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 r. So again, two methods, but a big important thing to remember is to not let the tip of your tongue touch the roof of your mouth, okay? And you use whichever method is easier for you. And we will be practicing a lot of words, so I think it'll be easier to practice the sound with those words instead of in isolation, okay? So let's go to the next section. Now I'd like to practice some words with you, words that have R in the beginning, middle, and end, okay? Now I'd like to practice saying some words with you. I have 3 columns of words here. In the first column, the words all start with the letter R. In the second column, the words all have R in the middle of the word. And in the last column, the words all end in R. Okay? So I am going to read these words, and I would like you to read them after me, to practice saying them after me, okay? I will be making some comments, and at the end I might also make a few sentences. We'll see how it goes, okay? But please repeat these words after me. And notice, when I say these words especially, my lips will probably be pretty rounded, and they'll be pushing out, maybe on some of them quite a bit. And that is normal when we make the sound for the letter R. As I read some of these other words, and especially when R appears at the end of the word, my lips will not be protruding as much. But there is variation in that, okay? But please practice saying these after me. Rain, rain. Read, read. Red, red. Restroom, restroom. Ride, ride. River, river. And we have an R here at the beginning and at the end. Road, road. Run, run. Okay? All right. We'll just go into the next column, okay? Carry, carry. Error, error. Notice we've got the R's in the middle, also at the end. Air, air, This OR sounds the same as ER at the ends of these words, okay? Error, morning, morning, mirror, mirror. This OR is also an sound. Person, and here it is again, person, person. Very, very. Virus, virus. Iron, iron. I put this word last because I wanted to talk about it, okay? It's not I run, It's I. This part is just like mirror, after, I earn, iron, okay? It is not I run. It's I earn, iron, okay? All right, now that one's probably a little bit tricky. Okay, let's look at the third column. Okay, let's see. These four words all end in ER, but remember I said that the OR sounds the same as ER in this case, okay? Not always, but the sound can be made by different letters and different combinations. Okay, please repeat. After, never, printer, winter, chair, there. I put these two words together because they have the same pronunciation. And I put them next to chair because the ending, the air sound is the same. Okay? Chair, air, there, air. So notice air is spelled here A-I-R, here E-I-R, and here E-R-E. They all have the same ending. Chair, there. And I put these two together because I pronounce them with the same ending. This word, though, does have different pronunciations. One of them, though, is the same, and the one, it's a very common one, or it's the same as the ending here, more, okay? So that's why I put these two together. More, your, more, your. All right, let me make a few short sentences with these, okay? And please repeat. The rain filled the river with water. The rain filled the river with water. Okay? He likes to read in the restroom. He likes to read in the restroom. Okay? The dog was running down the road. The dog was running down the road. Okay, let's try some of these. Do you look in the mirror in the morning? Do you look in the mirror in the morning? That person made an error. That person made an error. The virus was very, bad. The virus was very harmful. The virus was very harmful. Did you iron your shirt? Did you iron your shirt? Okay, I'll try some over here. I never sit in that chair. I never sit in that chair. I bought my printer in the winter. I bought my printer in the winter. have more of your food? Okay, can I have more of your food? And that's good enough. Okay, let's go on to the next section.